Hey guys, it's your boy Tacho here, back for some more Fire Emblem Heroes, and the Start of It All banner has dropped, so we've got a whole bunch of these new kiddo units, and we're going to be talking about them today, and going over a couple of builds you may want to run if you're going to go ahead and pull for these guys, and maybe even invest in them. So let's start things off with young Marth. So his base kit is the Rapier, Hero's Blood, Shield Defense, and Speed and Defense Oath. So Rapier, we've already seen that before on Fina. It's a really good weapon. It's got effective against armors and cavalry, and it has built-in Vantage as well. So once he gets below 75% HP, he's just going to be able to start attacking first even on the enemy phase. And with double type effectiveness, it's not going to be hard at all for this Marth to just dominate enemies. Hero's Blood is also pretty much a alternate name for Fire Emblem. It pretty much does the exact same thing, but it's a very good special, and because this guy is summonable as a 4-star unit, I'm pretty sure a lot of people are trying to go for the plus 10 on him. So he is definitely a great unit, and one of the better 4-star units you can invest in. He's only going to be available on this one banner though, so if you are going to go for the plus 10 on him, then now is pretty much your best chance to do it. As for recommended IVs, I gotta say go with plus attack. Plus speed also could have some great uses since he's got a pretty decent speed stat and Rapier does grant plus 3 speed. But you're gonna want plus attack so you can maximize your damage and make full use of the double type effectiveness that Rapier grants. And for the budget build, we're not really gonna have to do too much for this guy. Fury 3 in the A slot is gonna be overall his best budget option since he does have very nice, well-rounded stats. We're going to keep Chill Defense in the B slot, and we're going with Defense Smoke as the C skill, just so he can lower the enemy's defense even more, and that way he's going to have a better chance at attacking foes that have -7 defense. Chill Defense, of course, only targets the highest defense enemy, and with the Vantage effect built into the Rapier, he's going to be able to really make use of Defense Smoke on the enemy phase. Also, we're going with Brazen Attack and Speed as the Sacred Seal. It's going to raise his attack and speed, and speed is very nice for Hero's Blood since the damage that it does is going to calculate based on his speed stat. So pretty much any skills that raise attack and speed on the kiddo Marth are going to be real helpful. Alternatively though, you could run Desperation as the B skill if you want to have some more player phase power, and once he gets below 75% health, he's going to have both Vantage and Desperation, making him awesome on both phases. And Dull Close is also a decent option too, if you want to negate the foe's hard buffs. And for the high investment build, we are of course going to run Distant Counter on this guy. When paired with the Rapier, Distant Counter is so insane. Having double type effectiveness and having Vantage built into the weapon is going to let you abuse that on the enemy phase so well. So Distant Counter allows him to hit all the foes. We also have Special Spiral in the B slot here. After the first time he uses Hero's Blood, Special Spiral is just going to quick charge that for him after every round of combat. So with Vantage built into the Rapier, he can just start a fight immediately and slap the foes in the face with Hero's Blood. So Special Spiral is amazing on this guy. Also, we're going with Joint Drive Attack in the C skill. It's the most consistent passive C, I think, even though it just came out. Being able to raise your own attack as well as the allies is very nice. And alternatively though, if you don't want to go with Special Spiral, you can in fact go for Null C Disrupt. He is an infantry type unit, so he can have it. And it also combos very nicely with his effective against cavalry, because most of the Sweep type and Dazzling type opponents you're going to face are going to be cavalry types, like Brave Lynn and Brave Veronica. So being able to just get that first attack on them and negate their sweep effects is going to make this Marth really awesome against those opponents. So pretty good stuff, and this kiddo Marth is an awesome unit. Next up, we've got the young Caeda. So Caeda's weapon is just absurd to the max. Feather Sword has effective damage on sword types, lance types, axe types, colorless bows, and armors, so it's just effective against everything and the kitchen sink. It's just so stupid how good this weapon is. And it also allows her to use Vantage if the foes initiate combat and they have one of the aforementioned types that she's super effective on. So being able to just instantly use Vantage without being below 75% health and having effective damage on all those enemies is just so crazy. She also comes with Distant Counter right out the box. So this Caeda, if you manage to pull her, you're pretty much good to go. She also has Belief in Love in the B slot, which is amazing for a flying unit. Of course, these flying units are not allowed to have the lull skills. So being able to use Belief in Love and lower the foe's attack and defense by 5 is just so crazy on a flying unit. And she also comes with Joint Hone Attack, which, while not quite as good as Joint Drive Attack, is still pretty good. So this Caeda is just obscene. Her base kit is on par with a unit like Bramimond, who's just so perfect right out of the gates. And recommended IVs, I'm going to have to say either go with plus speed or plus defense. She does have the super boon in both of those stats, as well as HP. And because her base stat total is 166, if you go ahead and take the super boon, either speed or defense or even HP, that's going to bring her base stat total up to 170. So you're not going to have to worry about running a dual skill on her if you plan to run her in arena modes. And that way you get to keep Distant Counter and just abuse Feather Sword in all its glory. So for the budget build, we do not have to do anything here. Just give her Fierce Stance as the Sacred Seal and that's it. You're pretty much good to go. She is focused on baiting foes on the enemy phase with all that effective damage that she does. So you want the foes to attack you, and when that happens, Fierce Stance is going to be the best. Normally on Vantage type builds, I would suggest a Brazen type of Sacred Seal, but that's not the case for Caeda since she just instantly has access to Vantage even at full HP. So this unit is just dumb. And I mean, her base kit is so ludicrous that even on the high investment build, we're not changing a single thing. We are going to change Moonbow for Ruptured Sky though, since Ruptured Sky does a bit more damage against Dragon-type opponents, and those are one of the few opponents that Caeda is not effective on. I mean, well, if you want to be literal, half of the dragons in the game also double as armored units, so Caeda's still going to have effective damage on most of the dragons, but there are a couple of meta dragons that are infantry class or flyer class, so having Ruptured Sky is going to be nice against those. And once again, we're going with Joint Drive Attack as the C skill, because like I said before, it's the most consistent C slot passive to raise your own attack. Okay, next up, we're going to cover my boy Merric here. So Merric is actually the unit that I'm the most excited about on the banner. Of course, the OG Merric that we had wasn't really that great. So this new Merric is really awesome, and he's just as powerful as he was in the original games. So Winds of Change grants him -1 special charge, and it also gives him null follow-up and attack and speed up 5 if you meet the conditions, and it's real easy to activate those, so don't worry too much about that. Also, since he's got null follow-up built into the weapon, the fact that he has Wind Sweep in the B slot lets him attack any melee-type foes and just get the sweep effect on them, so they're not allowed to counter-attack Merric. He is very much a glass cannon, and his defense and res stats are not the best. So you definitely want to abuse Wind Sweep and prevent the foes from being able to attack Merric back. Also, the fact that he does -1 special charge on his weapon is going to let him build into Righteous Wind immediately if he attacks the foes twice. And it's a very good special as well, doing 30% damage of his speed, while also recovering 10 HP to himself and all of your allies. So Merric is also another monster right out of the box. Incredible base kit on this unit. And for IVs, I'm going to have to recommend plus speed. He does have the super boon in speed, and Winds of Change coming with built-in null follow-up is going to make him amazing on the player phase. And for the budget build, once again, we really don't have to do much for Merric. Just give him Swift Sparrow as the Sacred Seal so you can raise your attack and speed even more. But alternatively, if you want to run some different B-slot skills, there is Desperation as an option, as well as Water Sweep. Water Sweep is basically the same as Wind Sweep, except it works on magic-type foes and dragons. So if you prefer to get the sweep effect on them, then Water Sweep is an option. And Desperation is nice too, since it's not going to matter if the foes are physical or magical. and Merric is just going to hit them twice in a row and instantly get Righteous Wind to activate. One bad thing about running Desperation on this guy though is that Righteous Wind actually does heal. So with Desperation you want to be on lower HP, and the healing that you get from Righteous Wind is not really going to mesh well with Desperation. But it is of course an option since it's a little more versatile than both of the sweep skills, and hitting twice in a row is always going to be effective. And again, on the high investment build, we really don't have to do a single thing for Merric. He's already as perfect as possible out of the box. Once again, we are going to go for Joint Drive Attack though, since in my personal opinion, it is currently the best C-slot passive in the game. Just being able to grant 4 attack to yourself and all your allies within 2 spaces is really good. So Merric is definitely another powerful unit on this banner. And next up, we've got the adorable sisterly trio here. So Palla and the rest of the White Wing trio, they are a duo unit, so they have a duo skill. And the way their duo skill works is it's going to grant +1 movement to them and any adjacent flying allies on the turn that you activate it. And in the case that it's an odd numbered turn, you can also reactivate this duo skill and use it again. So it's the gift that keeps on giving, and being able to have 3 range of movement on your flying units is completely insane. Units like Tibarn, Nesala, and the Heron units already had 3 range of movement and the flying type mobility, and we all know how good those units are. Being able to move over any obstacle with 3 range movement is so crazy. So the fact that Palla and the White Wing trio can do the same to themselves and any of your other flying allies is just tremendously good. The White Down Spear is also going to allow them to do quad attacks if you meet all of the conditions. Pretty much the only condition is that you need to be on a flyer team, have at least 3 units on the team that are flyer types, and they get a guaranteed follow-up. And if you have 2 allies that are flying types within 2 spaces, when they initiate combat, they will get a second attack. So speed means absolutely nothing for this unit. They just get extra attacks for free if you have the conditions met. So this unit is bananas. They also have Mirror Impact, once again lending to the fact that speed is not an issue for them. And Mirror Impact granting +10 res and negating the foe's follow-up is going to be amazing against dragon type opponents that have the chance to counterattack them and possibly do a lot of damage. But they're just going to completely negate that and prevent the foes from hitting twice. It's also going to be great against close counter mages like Bowie, for example. And their base kit also includes Chill Attack and Speed 2 and Gold Flyers. So a very powerful base kit. And recommended IVs, I mean, do I even really have to say it? Was there any doubt that it was going to be plus attack? They have the Super Boon and plus attack, and they have the automatic quad attacks from the weapon. So obviously plus attack is what you're going to want to go for. And for the budget build, I'm going to say go with Gale Force as the special. Being flying type units with a potential for 3 range mobility, they're going to be able to make fantastic use of Gale Force as we see on other 3 range flyers like Nesala and Tibarn. So you're going to also want to go for the Heavy Blade Sacred Seals so they can ramp up to Gale Force with all the free second attacks that they can do. And Desperation as well in the B slots so they can hit multiple times in a row. And once you get below 75% health, being able to hit 4 times in a row with Desperation is just going to body every enemy. There's really not going to be anything that can survive. So in that sense, Mirror Impact is almost kind of a moot point since it negates the foe's follow-up. They're not even going to survive long enough to get that follow-up, so it kind of doesn't even matter. But it is still pretty cool in the A slot to have it. And Gold Flyers as the C slot is going to work nicely with the way their duo skill works and the way their weapon skill works. They want to be on a team with a whole bunch of flying units anyway, so Gold Flyers is the perfect choice for them. And alternatively, I mean, you could also go for some of the flyer type movement skills, since on the even numbered turns, they're not going to be able to pop the duo skill. Well, outside of the first time they use it. So if they use the first duo skill on an even numbered turn, then it's fine. But after that, you're only allowed to use it on odd numbered turns. So for that, you may want to have some flyer type movement skills instead, like Flyer Guidance and Flyer Formation, just so your flying units have even more mobility on the even numbered turns. but that's completely optional. I mean, they don't even really need to try and do that, so don't worry too much about it if you're not a big fan. And finally, for the high investment build, we're going to go for Heavy Blade 4. Heavy Blade 4 is so broken on this unit because it grants +5 true damage for each attack, and this unit can hit up to 4 times in a turn. So you add that up and it's basically 20 damage that you're gaining with the special cooldown charging, so you can ramp into Gale Force and keep on doing it. This is just nuts, man. This unit is so silly. I don't even know what to say, honestly. Like, I'm just speechless at how good the units on this banner are. And surprise, surprise, we're going with Joint Drive Attack. I mean, Gold Flyers is actually still pretty good on this unit based on how their weapon and other skills work. But Gold Flyers, unfortunately, doesn't grant them attack as well. So Joint Drive Attack does have the edge in that regard. And Death Blow as the Sacred Seal, since it's the best way to raise damage. You could also go for Brazen Attack and Defense, I guess, if you wanted, since it's going to work nicely with Desperation. But if I'm being honest here, guys, you're never even going to get into Desperation range here. You're just going to hit the foes twice in a row with the White Down Spear, and that's pretty much it. Like, they're not going to be able to survive anyway. And one thing that I really like about this unit too is that they don't get punked by null follow-up. So regardless of null follow-up units having tremendously good speed and being able to negate any effects that give you a follow-up from something like Bold Fighter, that's not going to matter. So you can just hit them twice anyway and go for the KOs. So this trio is a phenomenal unit, and if you're summoning on the banner to get them, then I wish you the best of luck, because you really don't have to do much to make them busted. And last but not least, we've got the Tempest Trial Prize unit here. So it's Lil Minerva, and her weapon, the Dragoon Axe, is going to give her a -1 special cooldown count, while also giving her +4 to all stats, and a guard effect on the foes if the foes have 100% HP at the start of combat. So for the most part, that's going to be a consistently activatable skill. But in some cases, like in Aether Raids, where the Bolt Trap or the Bolt Tower could be a factor, you're not always going to be able to use those effects, so just keep that in mind. She has Draconic Aura as the special. She's got Dragoon Shield as her A-slot passive. It's basically just a bigger and badder version of Io's Shield. It negates effective against flying bonuses while granting +3 to all of her stats besides Res, which is fine. I mean, her Res is already a throwaway, so you don't really need to worry about Res too much. And she's got Flyer Formation as well, so a very nice movement skill for a flying unit. And since she's a Tempest Trial Prize, we don't have any IVs to talk about here. So for the budget build, once again, I'm going to recommend using a Gale Force type of strategy here, just like with the White Wing Trio. So we're going to go for the Heavy Blade Sacred Seal, and as long as Minerva's got more attack than the foes, she can instantly ramp into Gale Force like this. So very nice stuff. Desperation for those instant double attacks, so you can just hit twice in a row, and with Heavy Blade you'll be able to activate Gale Force immediately. And Gold Flyers as the C skill, since it's really budget and it's good to support a flyer team. And the really nice thing about this Tempest Trial Minerva is that she's one of the few Axe units that we've gotten that has a really good attack and speed combo. So normally Axe units are very bulky and they've got tons of attack and defense, and their speed isn't the best. So that makes this Minerva a prime candidate for going for the +10 merge project. So you can abuse Gale Force on her, and the flying type mobility that she has also gives her an edge over other options like Raven and Linus. So all that stuff's real nice. And of course you can power her up if you've got the White Wing Trio, since their duo skill is going to let her move 3 spaces a turn. So flying types just keep getting better and better. And to wrap us up for today, we've got the high investment Minerva build. Now, as good as Dragoon Shield is, it's not really optimal for player phasing. So if you wanted to, you could go ahead and swap that out for something else. You don't really have to if you don't want to, but I do feel like you will get a little more mileage out of having something like Attack and Speed Push 4 or Swift Sparrow 3 or something like that. It's going to focus your attack and speed stats a little higher. And since we're running this Minerva as a Gale Force player phase unit, you don't have to worry too much about being hit by bows anyway. Attack and Speed Push 4 is also very nice in tandem with Desperation, so we can lower our own HP and get into Desperation range. And for the most part, it's the exact same build as before, just with some more high investment skills. So that's going to wrap us up for the Start of It All banner. These units are so insanely good. Most of them are just busted right out of the box with the base kits that they have. So really, I mean, just pulling any of these guys is totally going to help your barracks out a ton. And unfortunately, the banner did not have the 40 summoner count. So me personally, I'm not actually going to summon. I am still holding out for a really nice legendary banner. But I do wish the best of luck to any of you guys that are summoning. And as always, this is your boy Tacho signing out. So cheers, have a great day, and I'll catch you guys again in the next one.